Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Waren Vehicles Skyscraper. We are thrilled to be part of that conference that Felipe and his team put together. My name is Sebastian Pyzalski. I'm working for the Bavarian US offices based in San Francisco, and I'm leading the urban air mobility activities within our firm. So today I want to address a topic which I personally find very important when talking about urban air mobility, which is collaborations and smart procurement in the eVTOL era. It's a topic which we also discussed during our conference on urban air mobility last month, and I want to bring in the key findings into this conference. So some of you out there in this audience may not be familiar with me or our organization and may be asking, what or where is Bavaria and how is it relevant to UAM? Well, as Germany's largest and wealthiest state, Bavaria has over 30 investment and trade offices worldwide. And my team and I represent the Ministry of Economic Affairs, Regional Development and Energy in the US as part of the Invest in Bavaria Global Network. We offer confidential support to high-growth US tech companies that are scaling and expanding into the European market, especially when Germany and Central Europe is in the focus. And the region has been on the vanguard of aerospace and aviation research and development, investment and deployment for many decades, with more than 550 companies active in the aerospace and aviation sector, employing more than 60,000 people, resulting in more than 10 billion US dollar in annual turnover and 80% of all the R&D output in the state. Half of that landing to customers and partners abroad, including, of course, North America, Middle America, and also South America. On this slide, I want to give you a brief overview of some of the major players active in the market, including big names like Airbus, Lilium, Liebherr, and also some of the state and federally funded institutions active in the space, including the ESA, Brig Air, Munich Aerospace. And I also want to show you the R&D landscape, including basic and applied research organizations, as well as universities. For instance, the University of Armed Forces, the FAU, and also Technical University Munich. So when we are thinking about the implementation of urban air mobility, it is about how do you win this initial, very interesting and high leverage markets. Places like New Zealand, Singapore, Canada, and also Colombia, as we will learn during this conference today, but also the city of Ingolstadt in Bavaria. Those are markets where the governments are strongly behind smart city initiatives, governments who are pushing this topic of UAM forward. So just last month, within the framework of the High-Tech Agenda Plus, Bavaria committed additional 100 million euro over the next several years to UAM. So what is this European Commission design initiative about? What are the goals here? Well, led by Airbus, Audi and the EASA, this initiative is designed to develop a regulatory framework on a European as well as on a national level. And it's also designed to investigate different use cases and applications within the UAM space. But I also want to emphasize that this initiative is designed to include the citizens and the local communities as a proactive co-designer of UAM. So before we're talking about collaborations and partnerships, I would like to give a brief overview of all the challenges and who is actually involved when we're talking about UAM. So one challenge is, for example, technological barriers. Electric propulsion technology is still in a nation state and a lot of development is underway. Other technologies like onboard sensors, collision detection and avoidance are also yet to mature for this industry. In addition, with more systems being electronically controlled, cybersecurity will be a key aspect to address. When we are talking about operating eVTOLs, passenger or cargo drones, safety is definitely the major concern. And also the noise has to be under a certain noise level, especially in the urban areas. Also, the physical as well as the digital infrastructure has to build up and needs to be integrated seamlessly into the existing urban transportation system. And there are certification agencies like the FAA, the EASA, which are not ready yet to certify eVTOLs. They are still developing their own understandings, their awareness, the processes and the policies as the industry itself is maturing. So one big challenge which I find personally very important is public acceptance. So all the UAM stakeholders have to proactively include citizens as a co-creator of UAM to create a socially and environmentally acceptable aerial transport solution when it comes to safety, when it comes to noise, equity of access, and multimodality. And if you think about all those challenges and all the parts of the UAM value chain, I doubt that any company in this niche, whether well-established aerospace company or startup, can tackle all of those segments. Because we are not only developing a new technology, we are also building up a new industry here, an industry where neither OEM nor supplier alone can be successful. And that's why I want to address the topic of collaborations today. Specifically, I would like to cover two perspectives on partnerships today. One, where OEMs, suppliers, and other stakeholders of the UAM space building a strong ecosystem where the partners leverage mutual balance sheets and technical capabilities. And most of those partnerships will be likely in a risk-sharing partnership. And second, there are public as well as private organizations creating together a platform to engage with local communities and informing them about all the aspects of UAM, all the benefits as well as the challenges. When we are talking about risk-sharing partnerships, we have to be aware that there are different types of risk-sharing partnerships as shown here. However, I will focus today on partnerships between a supplier and manufacturer, as well as between manufacturer and the actual customer. So risk can be shared along the complete value chain. For example, in technological aspects, in certification, and of course in finances, but also in manufacturing and the production process itself. And also on the aftermarket, and if you put all those things together, it leads to a bunch of benefits as shown on the next slide. To take advantage of those benefits, the OEMs, the aerospace suppliers, and the startups have to address their needs as well as their challenges to be successful in this industry together. And if they do so, partnerships can be formed and lead to benefits as stated here. So with today's economics, the development of a new aircraft, let's say a new eVTOL, the needed digital and physical infrastructure, the certification of the aircraft, as well as the manufacturing process will be really costly. So that's why the likes of Airbus, Joint, Wisk, etc. need to collaborate with outside partners to find the right risk-sharing agreements and develop together what they are looking for and make it beneficial for everybody participating. Another big benefit is like benefits on product development. So OEMs, let's say we have an OEM which is working together with a tier 1 aerospace supplier. And those aerospace suppliers have like decades of experience, for example, in avionics, in propulsion systems, in airframing. And those companies bring those experience into the mix, which will increase in the next level the product as well as the service quality. And this may be particularly important when we are aiming for autonomous passenger drones, autonomous cargo drones, which is just a massive system, a system which needs strong partnership to put the whole puzzle together. So sharing financial risk is one side, but there's also a risk associated with operations. Since those companies, those aerospace suppliers have experience in certifying safety critical systems for years, even for decades, collaboration with them just makes sense to reduce the risk when you're talking about certification, but also risk in the actual operations. And this will also increase the safety overall. As a last point here, I would like to state that if all participants in these collaborations intensify their partnership by working together in identifying, analyzing, and managing risk, those risks which are related to their joint operations, they will build up a strong network of knowledge, of development, and technological innovation. And all of those participants will have access to those knowledge, to this network, which will make it beneficial for all of them. One last note here when establishing risk-sharing partnerships. A risk-sharing partnership might not be the optimal solution for every company. It is important to know your business model, to know where are your profit pools along your value chain, and also to know your technological capabilities. Once you figure out that, you can address your needs to outside partners and come up with the right risk-sharing agreements with concrete terms of contract. And this is important because you have to define, for instance, what happens in case of a smaller or bigger adjustment. How do you value them, and who takes the risk in case adjustments have to be done? And also, is your partner even capable of reacting to this adjustment? Let's say, for example, from a technological point of view. So those are the challenges which you have to take into consideration when talking about risk-sharing partnerships. But as I stated before, there are a lot of benefits for those type of partnership. As mentioned earlier, I also want to emphasize that we have to work not only on the technological aspects, the regulations, the certifications, and the infrastructure in a collaborative way, but we also have to work closely with the cities and the local communities. So the society, the citizens have to become a co-designer of UAM. So in order to do that, it is needed to provide the citizens and the communities a platform. Platforms where the OEMs, suppliers, and certification agencies proactively engage with the citizens. Platforms to create UAM with the public and the private sectors in order to show them and demonstrate the benefits which will come with this aerial transport and logistics solution. And if we do so, we can aim for socially and environmentally acceptable aerial transport solution in regards to safety, noise, equity of access, and also multimodality. And this will hopefully then lead to a sustainable and socially embraced integration of urban air mobility. As a last word, I would like to address our services. We, as the Bavarian US office, would be more than happy to develop those strategic partnerships, and as we offer confidential support to high-growth tech companies that are scaling and expanding into the European market. So if you're interested in being connected to one of those industry players, as I mentioned earlier on earlier slides, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. With that note, I would like to thank Felipe and the whole Baron Vehicles team for having me today, and I hope everybody joining us today will enjoy this conference and probably even building up further collaborations. Thank you.